excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Oh, what a game to start the Stanley Cup final. The Oilers win it in overtime, and they are up 1-0 in the best of 7. So I don't get to say one of the lines I've been using for the last 2 or 3 years, as is the custom. The Oilers lose the opening game of the season. No, they're starting to prove me wrong. Go against the custom in game 1, which is nice. What a game last night at Rogers Place. They will play game 2 tomorrow at 6 o'clock. The Oilers holding their media availabilities today. I see that Jake Wallman and Evander Kane have spoken. Head coach Chris Knobloch as well. Thanks for joining us over the noon hour. I'm Reid Wilkins in for Dustin Nielson. Joaquin Gage is with me here in studio, and Matt Kassian joining us remotely. Matt, how are you?
I'm good. I'm recovering from last night, guys. The excitement, and then my internet was spotty again, even though it's the new provider. Something was going on, so it was cutting in and out, and I was losing my mind because I just wanted to talk about the game. But what an exciting game, guys. That was everything it was billed to be. It felt like it was just two teams playing really good hockey, and it was exciting. There was swings, there was ups, there was downs. We laughed, we cried, and at the end we laughed. So it's great.
Well, and to me, it never really let up. It started with a high tempo and a lot of excitement. I guess maybe more so from an Oilers perspective, because I thought they controlled the opening minutes, and Draisaitl scored just over a minute in. You knew the response was coming from Florida. I mean, it was 7 goals, pretty good total.
Yeah.
But there was some very good goaltending along the way as well. And I thought, Gager, there was certainly the hitting and the chippiness that we expected. And I really noticed that the Panthers play physical between the whistles, and they keep going after the whistles. Like, there were times they would just stalk an Oiler player, like to the bench, away from the net, wait till the linesman isn't looking, little shot to the back, extra slash. The Oilers did that a little bit, but I thought the Panthers were doing it more. Like, they're committed to this nastiness.
They were definitely, they had the crosshairs on the Oilers' skill. The one thing you'll hear is always be tough on their skill. Like, try to test their mantle of how much they really want to be there. And it was quite comical between whistles. The amount of cross checks and whacks and little bumps Leon Draisaitl would get, Connor McDavid, to a man. They were all committed to that style of play, which I like. I always liked those types of games, to be on the team that initiated that kind of contact. I think that's just the MO of the Panthers too, right? They do it all the time, and I think refs are kind of numb to it. We were talking before. I think that there is a part of the Edmonton Oilers that could play to the dark arts a little bit, with a little bit of, as Matawanek says, embellishment or gamesmanship. Sorry. Of maybe accidentally on purpose taking a knee, right? Oh, that hurt. That was rough, just to keep them a little bit more honest and things like that. But like you said, Reid, that was a great game, fun to watch. The back and forth. The only poor thing about the whole evening was Matt Kassian's internet connection. That was the only thing wrong with last night.
Well, I think the call to challenge for goaltender interference was also a poor thing. Now, it works out in the end because they still win the game, but that to me could have been not quite as bad as like the LA challenge moment. Like, not that bad.
You thought it was bad?
Pretty close. I thought it was a horrible challenge.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
No.
Watching it live, I was like, no way. Like he got bumped. And then watching in slow motion, I was like, no way, he got bumped. Like you have to in order for me to be able to say, okay, this is goalie interference. Like he can't get clipped. Like the second you have someone's skate go forward into someone's skate, like in a accidental slew foot, like it wasn't on purpose. Like it wasn't a tripping. It was two guys battling for position in front of the net. But like his momentum's going back, and a guy's skate hits the back of his leg, and it's like what you're going to expect him to not fall back. Like he was bumped. There was no clear, direct, like, oh, look, he absolutely intentionally did this into the goalie. Like it wasn't there for me.
Do you think that because of the player involved added to the reason why Knoblauch kind of did challenge because it was Bennett? Because I mean, if
question.
Let's just flip the coin. If the same exact thing happens to Corey Perry in front of the net, and it's challenged, does the player himself add to a little bit more of we gotta think about this a little bit more? It shouldn't.
It shouldn't, and the ref shouldn't call it that way on reputation. They should just call what they're seeing.
Yeah,
but I just have trouble, and I know they're very good players and they're in control of their bodies and their sticks and everything out there. But as soon as I saw the contact with Kulak's leg, first of all, I was surprised there was a challenge at full speed because I saw the battle in front. And then on the replay, when I saw the contact with Kulak's leg, I thought they're not going to overturn this goal. And as you guys know, I have that rule printed up. I'm always looking at it. I just thought they're going to let this stand because of that. I don't think they as a league and the people, and Chris King, by the way, was there. So the war room is now not in Toronto. It's at the Stanley Cup final. Actually came down on the elevator with Chris King after. I didn't ask him to clarify it. I should have. I just hey, what'd you see there? I just don't think that they can get into, okay, this is what we're seeing. Now let's combine that with what we think the player was thinking to make the call. I know a lot of people said to me last night, well, Bennett knows what he's doing. Well, maybe.
You can't.
But maybe he actually
see his
felt.
brain, though. Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of Bennett, but he was like, and that's why I thought that they challenged after watching it on the slow motion replay. I thought they will challenge this just because of the player, and like it shouldn't have influenced the name bar on the back, but I think that's the reason why they did it in the first place. Did I like it? I liked it because I thought they might sway their opinion just because it was Bennett.
I also think Knoblauch was telling his penalty killers that he believed in them.
Yeah, I like that.
Because they killed off a penalty a few minutes prior quite well.
And looked good.
Quite well. And then I think he's saying, okay, look, I'm going to put myself out there. If I'm right, we're still ahead 1-0. Mm-hmm. If I'm wrong, I don't think you guys are going to give up another goal, less than 2 minutes later on the man advantage. And then he's probably also thinking, okay, if we're down 2-1, there's, 50 minutes left in the game or whatever, 48 or whatever it turned out to be, as opposed to something in the third period like the Hiller thing where you don't give yourself a lot of time to respond to it. Maybe I'm right. Like, would a coach think like that, Cass, where he's like, okay, if I'm wrong, I'm going to trust my players are going to step up for me?
Well, that's what Hiller was thinking. Didn't work in that instance. So I can't imagine that Knoblauch didn't think that, but you're making that decision because you think it's going to be overturned, right? So you're not weighing too much on that. Oh, if I'm wrong, because I'm like, there should be no if I'm wrong in the Stanley Cup final on this. That's throwing the dice. That's rolling the dice. And it's like, and I understand anytime there's a challenge, you always are, because you don't truly know unless it's like so blatantly offside that it was just a bad call that without question that it was missed. On any of the goalie interferences, like there's just that element of a little bit of doubt, and I think that factors into it. But I think mostly the decision was it's Bennett. And I do think that absolutely weighed into it heavily. And that, they're going to see Bennett falling in. They know he does this kind of stuff. They're going to call it back. I just, at the end of the day, guys, there just wasn't enough there to say without question, without a reasonable doubt, that he intentionally fell into him. Because if it's not intentional, then it's all to do with the bump by Kulak. And if it's to do with the bump by Kulak, then it's not his fault, according to the league, on the ice. Yeah. Right now, if the call on the ice was the opposite, like if the call on the ice was there was goaltender interference, I don't think it flips back the other way, right? Because the referee can say, oh, I thought he went down too easy. Right? Like, oh, he's got to control how he goes down, if that's how the referee sees it. Mm-hmm. But the call on the ice was a goal, not goalie interference. So it just, that one to me is one that just couldn't flip. It was a bad decision. Fortunately, guys, they rebounded, they came back, they stuck with it, and they still win the hockey game.
Yeah, one of many interesting things to talk about from last night. Matt Kassian, Joaquin Gage, Reid Wilkins with you, two guys and a goalie. Presented by GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety driving their success. GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become part of the team. Visit gsconstruction.ca, click Ready to Work, or visit their page at Indeed.ca with the Next Person Up program at GS Construction. It's not just a job, it's a career. You're welcome to get in touch with us this afternoon as well. You can email Reid at edmontonsportstalk.com. You can send us a text message, 780-218-9999. And, of course, you can post in the chat, the nasty chat we call it, if you're taking us in on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up there as well. Hit the like button. We got a 1-hour show over the lunch hour here, noon to 1. Let's get to 100 thumbs.
Let's do it.
You know, put down your sandwich for a second. Put down the soup. Take a break from the ramen.
People, it's got to be because maybe it's miso soup. Put down your miso soup.
And click the thumbs up. I'm not going to read apologies to everybody, but the goalie interference is one of the most talked about topics in hockey. And as I've noticed from hosting shows during the time, it's become challengeable. It's the one thing that brings a lot of opinions out. So apologies. I'm not going to read everything that you were submitting on the text line and the nasty chat because, quite frankly, the three of us have covered most of it. So I don't know if we need to just repeat everything, but I respect what everybody's writing in and that we don't all see it the same way. But the Oilers survived that. Let's jump ahead to the end of the game. So two key elements for this for me. I'll start with the penalty itself, and I want to ask you guys because you've played in games. You've played in games that went to overtime, and I know you guys still are, but especially when you were playing pro hockey, you were in peak physical condition. But I still believe, as an observer, that fatigue is a factor even in the NHL. And when Nosek flipped the puck over the glass, I thought to myself, that's a tired play because he wasn't really under pressure, or maybe his mind told him he was. And then I was rewatching parts of the game this morning, including that. And from what I saw, now you guys got to remember, I'm down to about an eye and a half here. But from what I saw, like that wasn't close to the top of the glass. It wasn't like, he was aiming for the top third. Like it looked like that sort out. Is that something that could happen at that point of overtime, that it's a bit of a fatigued play? What do you think, Cass?
It could be. It could be. I mean, it's a mental lapse by a player that generally doesn't have those. It's a pretty good or really good player, I would say. Does fatigue factor into it? Yes, it absolutely does, especially late in a game. Especially late in a game. We were maybe trying to do things simple. Maybe you're a little bit tired. And I would have to look. I'm not sure how long he was on the ice, like shift length up to that point. I didn't check that. So if someone wants to be a sleuth, wants to be helpful, wants to dig into that. That would be great to see, like, at what point in his shift did that happen to Nosek? Because if that's after 30 seconds of being on the ice, I would say fatigue 100% a factor. If it's not, like if it's in the first or early in the shift, I'd say, well, maybe a little bit potentially, but more the moment, just a mistake in the moment where you're probably trying to flip it out and the puck rolled or physics went against you for some reason. But yeah, I'd be interested to see if we can pull it up, because to me, if it's like after that 30-second mark, then fatigue absolutely factor late in a game. I mean, Gager, it's like goalies, sometimes late legs get a little bit tired. Yeah. You start cheating a little bit more and you make mistakes.
Exactly.
There was he was 17 seconds into his shift.
Okay.
Says
Okay,
he was
so
on the
still
ice from
pretty early.
1808 to 1825.
He's got to get on the bike a little bit more.
Yep.
So I
It's out of shape.
remember
Yep, out of shape.
when I was playing in Europe and they started, this rule came in where if it started going over the glass, but it was every team in every zone. So you could be in the offensive zone and shoot it out and it would still be a penalty, and it would just drive me crazy. And I originally I didn't like this rule, but with the two teams that are playing now, with the way that they both forecheck, and it's one of the strengths of Florida. Let's face it. And I think what they are able to do is over the course of a game, consistently pressuring, hitting. No one likes to get hit, and then all of a sudden you get in that place. Oh, I just got to get rid of this so I don't get hit, and go from there. You add the fatigue in, but I love it. I think the reason why that play happens is because of the previous 40 or 73 minutes or whatever it was. Oilers established a forecheck. They were able to pressure the Florida Panthers forwards and D to do something, just chipping it out, and that's what you get from that. I think it's a culmination of things to generate that power play, and that's what happened. I think hearing how many seconds he was out there, 17, but just knowing that you're getting hit every time you're trying to get the puck out, I think that added more to it than actually the fatigue of being out there.
Yeah, and someone made a good point in the chat too. Like he is a good player, but he's a fourth liner.
Yeah.
He was at 10 or 11 minutes of total ice time. I just think, I don't know, at that part in the game, you wonder if you're not used to playing that long, like it or not. All right, so that was the flip over the glass. Incredible reaction from the Oilers. Like everybody's up. Okay, and quick because we want to break down the goal.
Did you guys see the Wallman reaction on that?
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask, because somebody put that in the chat. If you've ever done that to a player.
Oh, you do that all the time, and it's wonderful. I love that. Like someone does something stupid, and you're just like, hey, right in his face. Like, and you want to tell me that that's not like the three guys on the Oilers in warm up, if they're skating like in game 2 are skating like along the red line and they're turning in no 6 right there. You want to tell me that not like 5 guys, I might even go more than 3, like 5 or 6 guys are all going to be saying something to him? Oh, yeah, absolutely. You line up. If I'm a forward defenseman, it doesn't matter. Like if I line up across from that guy in period number 1 or 2 or 3, you don't want to think you'll be like, hey, thanks.
Oh yeah.
Like that's all you have to say. Like, thank you. Appreciate
You're
it, bro.
reminding him.
Like,
you're reminding him, hey, you know what the reason is that your team lost game 1? It's you.
Yep.
That's what you say.
You idiot. Yeah. How could you be such an idiot?
Yeah.
No, you're laughing him.
Yeah. Jesus, how high is the glass in Florida?
Yeah. I'd probably say something like, hey man, I'm not playing that much. You want mine? You want my jersey? Like that's probably what I'd do. I'd be like, your minutes are more. Yeah, your minutes are more important to us. Yeah. It can get ruthless, but it should get ruthless. It cost them.
Oh yeah.
I actually I didn't notice that till this morning. So usually after a game, especially playoffs, I'll go home and I'll watch some of the key parts of the game again because I PVR, and I did that last night. But I only watched the flip out once, I think, and then I went and found some goals and a couple other things. Mm-hmm. And then this morning, I was like, okay, I'll watch the flip out all the way. And I was like, did Walma skate by him and lip him off? I didn't even see that till today.
So good. Love it.
All right. So the goal itself, we'll start with Gager here. They got the little 2-on-1 down low, but a lot of things, good things by the Oilers, and maybe some bad decisions by Florida or misreads set that up.
Well, you started out with McDavid just slicing and dicing through the zone, right? It's amazing how he's able to back off defenders like that. But we were talking before. I think that every guy touches the puck on this thing. Like 5 guys touch the puck on this goal, which is amazing in itself. But to me, the plays by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Evan Bouchard are are so elite that to me, they eclipse the actual unbelievable pass that McDavid makes to Draisaitl. Because when you watch the play of Bouchard first, gets the puck, and he knows that the Florida Panthers are pressuring every chance they get. So what does he do? He pulls one of the defenders closer to him and makes a great play to Nugent Hopkins. Nugent Hopkins does the exact same thing. He comes up the wall to draw because he knows he's going to get pressure, puts his, he almost initiates contact with his back, but he gets the Florida Panther player moving closer to him too. So right then you've drawn two players away or out of their normal position where you'd see them. Another great bump down for Corey Perry. Corey Perry, I mean, unbelievable pass, just little touch pass to Connor McDavid, and the rest is history. But that play doesn't happen without the awareness and knowing what the PK does of the Florida Panthers without those deft touches and the ability to draw defenders to them with Bouchard and Nugent Hopkins, who, I mean, realistically, everyone should get a point on that goal. Yeah.
I got a couple extra things to add. Great breakdown, Gager. Great breakdown. I want to also throw another props to Evan Bouchard because they were clean in the zone because of him. Clean in the zone because of him. So, yes, McDavid slicing and dicing, but Evan Bouchard runs a pick. And it's his lane, so it's fine. But he runs a pick through the neutral zone, which gives McDavid a little bit of extra space. So if you watch that and you watch that again as he skates through the zone, like you know, Bouchard does a drop. He intentionally now he's looking at Marchand the whole way, staring at him, doesn't take a step, and he's just timing it because he sees McDavid starting to cut back, just times it, and it's just right in the way, and all of a sudden, Brad Marchand can't apply pressure across. And Connor McDavid then slices and dices and forces all four players, to collapse to him in the middle. But he only is able to get there because of Evan Bouchard's pick at center ice. So that's point number one. Point number two, it was a great play, that little delay and wait by Bouchard. But Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to pick that puck up off the wall because Bouchard doesn't still really have a lane and he gets it to him, but it's in his feet. But for Nuge to pick it up was a great pickup and then a smart play. Now he knows that's a set play. We always call them automatic outs. You have your automatic outs that if you're under pressure, the puck's rolling, you don't have anything. This is where you put the puck because chances are you're going to either have someone there or someone that's supposed to be moving that direction to give you an automatic out. Like it's an automatic play. Like if you don't have a play, you put the puck here, someone's supposed to go. And that's what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins does. So good recognition, pick up the puck off the wall and move the play there. And a great recognition by Leon Draisaitl on his timing on that. I mean, and he sees if I'm looking at the Florida Panthers, this is all Brad Marchand. This is all Brad Marchand not making a play. Because the second that Bouchard passes that puck to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So we talked about, and maybe I'll just run with this because Gage, you talked about the Oilers did well. I added a couple here, but this is what the Florida Panthers penalty kill didn't do well. Brad Marchand gets stuck in between. He gets stuck in between because there's already pressure on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, which your defenseman, I think that's Ekblad. He chases all the way up, or maybe it wasn't Ekblad. Yeah, that was Ekblad. Chases all the way up to basically the blue line, which Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is not a danger on his backhand close to the blue line. Why are you rushing out that far? There's mistake number one by Ekblad. Now, mistake number two is Marchand doesn't recognize that because his first steps after Evan Bouchard passes it are then to try to push Ryan Nugent-Hopkins back down the wall. That's what he wants to do. That's what he should do. But he doesn't recognize that your defenseman's already up there. Now, he's slow in seeing that. And so he opens up, but he plants both feet and does not see trouble. He doesn't see trouble. Now, Corey Perry, that beautiful pass creates trouble, maybe where there wasn't any initially. But if Brad Marchand takes 3 hard steps and he tries at the end as the puck's going across the Draisaitl, but if he's hard 3 steps back into that, I'll call it the T intersection. So kind of, if you draw a line across, basically make a cross across the ice at that T intersection, if his first 3 steps are fast to there and then he plants his feet instead of coasting and then trying to be explosive, he gets back and he breaks up that play. So beautiful play by Edmonton. Beautiful. At the same time, Florida Panthers, Brad Marchand and Ekblad on that one get lit up.
Yeah, I watching it because I'm so used to seeing how the Oilers PK operates, and I know it hasn't had a great postseason, obviously. But that's what I noticed was when Nugent Hopkins got pressured, that really was kind of a hopeless situation to win the puck. And I'm not saying the Oilers are always make good reads, but when the Oilers PK is humming, they never take a chance where they have a 30% chance to get the puck. You know, like if they take a chance, it's only 10% that they're not going to get it, right? That they really are more calculated.
Yeah, you have to be able to close. I mean, that's like I don't tell too many stories about Kevin Constantine on here. I could probably tell some more. But for as crazy as stuff as Kevin Constantine did, he on the penalty kill was a genius in terms of how detailed the breakdown was. Like you get shredded in video for being 6 inches, literally 6 inches out of where you're supposed to be. You get the pause, you get to stop, and you'd ask you the question, like, where are your feet here in this video? They're right here, where they're supposed to be. And you're like, yeah, 6 inches to the right. And one rule that he had that I think every team should have, and this is like, I don't understand that pressure, is defensemen never above the dot. Never have a defenseman go above the dot, because how can you recover back to the front of the net if you go above the dot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to recognize hands. And so if you have a guy on his backhand by the blue line, which is what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was, his backhand is towards the front of the net. He is not a dangerous player. The dangerous player is somewhere else on the ice. So why are you rushing out at him? Because he's got two plays. One is to go back to Evan Bouchard. The other is to cycle it low in the corner like he did. So as a defenseman, you stop. Even if you didn't go, even if you went above the dot, if you go, close to if you go to the top of the circles and stop. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he's either going to open up, right? He's going to open up, in which case then you're in the lane, or he's going to chip it down the wall. And if you stay in that dot lane, dot area, well, now all of a sudden you don't have to do a full freaking rotation of your penalty killing. Like your whole unit doesn't have to rotate, and you don't end up in a scramble with a 2-on-1 at the net. So, yeah, I mean, it was a mistake of high pressure and one of detail. And it'll be interesting to see, guys, if that, because they did play pretty aggressive. Like the penalty kill was pretty aggressive, and I love aggressive penalty kills. That's my favorite type. Like I love when they pressure, but everyone's got to pressure. Like it's harder to do it, harder to execute. But if you do, it is really effective. I'm interested to see how Florida adjusts after that, right? Like, because they're going to be watching that same video and talk about, running out too far, being aggressive at the wrong times. But even the other penalty kills, they were really aggressive. So I'm interested, fellas, to see, if there are adjustments made, and if we see the penalty kill of the Florida Panthers maybe sit back a little bit more heading into game 2.
Yeah, I just brought up, I think it's Seth Jones that chases out to Nuge.
Oh, Jones.
So when Nuge gets the puck, both Marchand and Jones are quite close to Nugent Hopkins, and they're both above the top of the circle. So the Nuge tosses it down low, and then who's this player? Is that Mikkola?
I think that's Ekblad.
No, he's the left shot though. This guy.
Oh,
anyway, does this other defenseman need to chase Perry into the corner, or does he need to be like, no, I just got to stay back here?
No.
Yeah,
you should just stay back. Well, because in a perfect world, it's one go, all go. So you're high pressure everywhere when someone bobbles a puck. That's what you want to do. But for Jones, like that's not his guy to high pressure. Like that's Marchand's high pressure. Like as that puck is in Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' feet and he's trying to pick it up. Because if you look at it, by the time it's on his stick, Marchand and Jones are both the same distance away. But if Jones stops at the edge of the circle, like even if he starts to go, but then he's like, hold on here, I don't have pressure, and Marchand has pressure, if he stops there, well, now Ryan Nugent-Hopkins isn't dancing up to spin to bump that puck back, and you can reset back into your proper lane. So yeah, again, like it's a high pressure mistake, and I love the pressure across, and I do love, like, yes, a guy is banking the puck behind to his automatic out. That can be a pressure situation. Totally fine. But you also have to recognize when people are out of position and not going to be able to help. And that's that. You had two guys on one guy, you weren't able to recover.
If you're, sorry, Gager.
Oh, go ahead.
If you're people who are listening or watching at home or at work, and you want to bring up the Sportsnet highlight 10-minute shortened game on your computer, freeze the screen with 33.8 seconds left in the period and with 50 seconds left on the power play. In my mind, that is the exact instant Leon Draisaitl knew he was going to win the game. because he's standing on the right side, almost straight up, non-athletic position. And then when Perry makes that little drop pass, he pounces.
He took the safety off. That's the point where he takes the safety off.
And then 2 seconds later or whatever it was, like you see the legs all of a sudden explode.
The recognition of seeing what's about to transpire is it's an elite level of thinking. And watching it again, you see Marchand. He does turn into a bit of a spectator at that point. A lot of coaches would say that you're spectating here, where his first reaction should be, you hear stops and starts, is bust his ass back to the house, like take at least back to the front of the net, right?
His first 3 steps, as I said, like his first 3 steps, because he takes the hard 3 steps in the lunges, but if after Bouchard makes that play, if his first 2 steps, he takes 2 hard steps back to the middle or back to like the slot area, that direction. His momentum's already there, his speed's already there, and he may be able to break up that play. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not, still get
but
it
it's
through,
closer than what it was for sure.
A heck of a lot closer. Maybe he just gets enough of it, a piece of it, to wobble it a little bit so that it's not a clean one-timer for Leon.
All right, we're halfway through the show here. Reid in for Dustin today on Two Guys and a Goalie with Matt Kassian and Joaquin Gage. Of course, our live stream until 6 o'clock. Gager and Hernandez Salas coming up with EST afternoons from 1 to 3. Jason Milne's going to be with me from 3 to 6 for the
you got a show too, right?
I do a show. And Gager and I are doing Two Guys and a Goalie tomorrow. A double substitution show.
Right.
Yeah.
Oil Stream, you mean?
Sorry, yeah. I'll learn the name of the show.
Right. You don't pay attention to this show anyway.
Of course, Edmonton Sports Talk is presented by Play Alberta. Why settle for less when you can have it all? Only Play Alberta brings you casino games, live dealers, lottery, instants, and sports betting all in one place. Players can get a $50 casino bonus by depositing $20 and using the code EST Casino. You can get a $50 free sports bet by depositing $20 and use the code EST Sports. So the way that it's a $50 free bet, you got to use the whole 50 on one thing though.
Okay.
And don't forget to use your game sense with that. I think I put the last month's my free bet on the Elks to win 9 or more games.
Oh, okay.
So we'll find out how they're going to look on
Saturday.
That's
a good bet.
Yeah.
Like
CFL kicks off tonight. Sask home to Ottawa.
Yeah.
Battle of the Rough Riders. I know they're not called that anymore. But Lieutenant Eric was all hyped up for that one.
He's juiced. More ways than one already.
Yeah,
so.
he was tailgating inside the EST Global HQ.
He is kind of a one-man tailgate.
he's ready to go. NBA Finals tonight too, so that's going to be 4 Canadians in that series.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that we got that much representation. If people have seen me, if you're watching on YouTube and you've seen me looking over to the left,
me as
golf
well.
On.
Yeah. I'm looking for Toronto Maple Leafs. Are they anyone participating in this one? No. Oh,
you have to be a pro golfer. They don't just let
Shouldn't they be pros by now?
Eliminated NHL teams. You just play in the Canadian Open.
Yeah.
If you're out, we saved you a sponsor's exemption. Just go ahead, Mitch. Mitch, you might not be a Maple Leaf. Actually, you can't play. It's been kind of a side note because I told the story the other day about just getting my accreditation and that kind of stuff. It's been interesting for me finding out where media members are staying in Edmonton, because I guess the Marriott across from the rink, which usually could accommodate the visiting team, and there's like a lot of media in town. There's something I didn't even find out what it is. There's some other kind of convention going on.
Oh, really?
So I probably shouldn't give away exact hotels because I don't want Chris Cuthbert being stalked.
No,
or bothered. He's such a nice guy. But so the one of the media hotels is in West Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
And with the construction on 104th Stony Plain Road, and then once you get in on Jasper, I mean, you'd have to take 107th or 112th, I think, to get in.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are staying all over. Like some media are staying in I think it's the Delta that's in City Center Mall. So that's not too far away.
Okay.
But some people are out here in the West End. Some people are staying like other hotels near downtown. So, in like downtown, but not as close to the arena. Like you got to go
think they
10 or 15 minutes. So it must have been such a, like, that's one of the, because a lot of people ask me like, oh, Reid, like, when you were with Ched, did you travel? Or like, are you going to travel now? And I'm kind of like, no. And I'm kind of glad.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I don't, because you gotta find a hotel, or like sometimes like some guys and women in the media might have they might have a booker who does it for them. But like when I was at Ched, I would go to the draft. Right. So you'd get information about the media hotel. And there were a couple times like I was right in there, like when it opened for bookings, and maybe you're on hold or you got to go through a queue online for 10 minutes. It's like, it's booked.
Wow.
And then you're trying to find somewhere else to stay. So I kind of feel for these people.
It's quite a waste
visiting it. And let's say something like, I guess the final was here last year, but some people don't travel a lot. So, it's unnerving to go to a strange city. Where's the rink? What's their downtown like? Where am I going to eat? What's the transportation like? All that kind of stuff.
No, I mean, first world problems here, but
sure. But
it's interesting to see some signs around, and I was like, wow, they're really pumping up this Stanley Cup final way out in the West End. But I realize it's it's where one of the majority of the media members are staying right now. Which
I think they want to be there. I think they want to be there.
Just outside.
I think they want to be there.
They're closer to the mall
because I'm pretty sure. It will exact. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you guys know this about Cuthbert, but the man is a massive fan of water slides.
Oh, are you serious?
So, it would not shock me in the slightest
that he's at the water
down
park.
That is it Nessie's Revenge? Is it Nessie's Revenge?
Yeah.
Is that the one with it's still like that just drops you down the chute that gives you a wedgie?
Right.
Is that the one?
Yeah,
I can't remember
was
which
always
one that
partial to the toilet one.
Ice creamer. Oh, the toilet, the bowl one where you go like this and you like hit your head every time falling out, like concussion for sure.
Yeah.
No, I just made that up. I don't know if he likes water slides, but I thought
he's on my. He's such a nice guy. He was on my show the other day. Chris Johnston, who's on in the morning, he's a very nice guy as well. And I saw him, and he's like, God, you're the river. I love your River Valley.
Yeah.
He goes, I love running on the trails.
He got into running a few years ago.
Yeah, plus when he was here in 2020, he was one of the guys in the bubble, and he's like, that was so awesome in September to go down there. And he's like, I went for a run this morning. He goes, it's so extensive once you get down there. I said, and plus if you're not an Edmontonian, you gotta make sure you know where the tall buildings are, so you know which way you got to go back. So that's cool to hear somebody coming in and enjoying that.
I love that. Well, we've had a few guys on our show, Americans coming up, and they're just talking about they coming from non-traditional hockey markets to the ravenous Canadian market, begging for their team to win a Stanley Cup, and they love it. I think they were talking about the Oilers' Tim Hortons donuts. They couldn't believe there was hockey donuts at Tim Hortons.
All right, game 2 is going to be tomorrow. We got a few more things to cover here. We'll make this all hired or fired for GS Construction. GS Construction is hiring now. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or their page on Indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team at GS Construction. All right, Cass, this was one of your ideas, so I'll start with you. Is that the best of Florida, or do they have more?
I'm going to hire it. I think that's their best, guys. I think that's their best. I think they executed well in that second period where they had a good second period. And they had a great start to overtime. Like there are times they're able to pressure and they're able to generate some offense, but I think that's their absolute best. Like I do not think Florida has another gear on top of that. And I think Edmonton made mistakes that they may not make the rest of the series in terms of some of the turnovers that they made. So I do think that's the best of the Florida Panthers. And I don't think we've seen the best of the Edmonton Oilers.
I'm going to fire it, but with an asterisk. So I think the Florida Panthers have more, but like you just mentioned, Cass, I think the Edmonton Oilers have more too. What happened, when they talk about prize fighting, the matchups make the fights. I think we can all agree that the best two teams in the NHL are playing in the Stanley Cup Finals right now. It's amazing hockey or what we're witnessing, the sacrifice, the skill level, everything, the speed. And what happens is usually your opponent brings out the best in you. And I think that this series is just going to keep ramping up, and the level of play is going to get to a point, it's going to boil over of how good both these teams are. So I think we're just going to be witness to fantastic hockey for as many games as this lasts.
Yeah, that's a good one, Cass. We've been talking about this all week, and Jay and I were talking about it on our show yesterday, that I think with Oilers fans, there's like a strong belief in this team. Like of course, people are worried that they might lose or they don't want to deal with another loss. But I also get the sense of the fans sort of have that belief that the Oilers team can figure it out. Mm-hmm. They can bounce back. And I think that if the Oilers, I think we're at the point that the Oilers' highest level is higher than anybody else in the NHL. It's how often can they get there? How much damage can they do when they are there, and then don't beat themselves? And there are a lot of ways to look at this, and I'll oversimplify it a little bit. But you could make the argument that the Oilers handed Florida 2 goals. Mm. They handed them the challenge, though I know not everybody believes it was a bad challenge. I believe it was. They handed them a power play that led to a power play goal. And quite frankly, they made a rare mistake on the Florida 3rd goal, because we have not seen the Oilers making bad reads like that lead to, really a breakaway.
And even Skinner made a bad read on that too, in my opinion anyway. So.
On the 3-1 goal?
3-1 goal, yeah.
In what way?
Just didn't recognize what was happening, because when you look when Bennett gets the puck and where Skinner's positioning, he's in his crease and leaving so much net. Like, he should have treated that as a breakaway, taking his ice back. Should have been at least at the top of the crease when Bennett lifts his head up to look to where to shoot, because he just had tons of net to shoot at. I think he caught Skinner a little bit off guard that he was that wide open, or he just out of your peripheral. Sometimes you see your guy that, okay, he's fine, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this guy's in all alone.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if he recognized that. I think that's a good pickup, Gager. I don't know if he recognized that there was danger there early enough.
I am 97% sure, because if you go back and watch it, he's in his crease. He's not even moving. Right.
Yeah. He's not at the top. And ideally when Bennett's picking up the puck, like his feet should be at the top of the crease.
I mean, he's not Bobrovsky that would be at the top of the circle at that point, but
playing defense.
He's usually a little bit outside his crease in those types of situations.
Okay, that's an interesting one. I hadn't thought of that. We'll keep going with hired or fired for GS Construction. Cass, I'll start with you again. Is Sam Bennett the so-called head of the snake that the Oilers must deal with? Must chop off to win this series.
I'm going to hire it right now and say yes, he is. And Matthew Tkachuk, obviously, for a lot of people, holds that place in their heart, emotionally and mentally. But to me, it's Sam Bennett. Like, just look at that game yesterday. Like, he's just around the net. I mean, there's a reason he's leading the Panthers right now in terms of production. He's around the net, hard to play against in the playoffs, like gritty, physical, falling on your goalie, even though you gave him a little bump. Yeah, he still goes down easy, and he's going to do that. Running guys over in and around it, always dangerous. Like, it's just, he is right now the head of the snake. Now, it may be a two-headed snake, double-headed snake, because Tkachuk is close. But if I have to pick one, I am picking Bennett right now. I will hire it.
Yeah, I'll hire it too. I mean, they are a hydra. There's a few other snakes on there. I would have to say, but I mean, you saw like some of his stats. I think we talk about certain guys getting, like when he was with Four Nations, everyone's we realize what the type of player Sam Bennett is. It's I mean, poor Calgary Flames fans right now watching this. They're just like, what happened with this guy? He's a wonderful player, and the Oilers do have to find an answer for him.
He was excellent. I didn't feel like I noticed Matthew a whole lot.
No,
I think he got an assist. I'm not saying he was bad, but Bennett, I can't remember what his ice time was, but it felt like he played 47 minutes. Like it was just one of those games where it's like, God, get this guy off the ice. Exactly. I mean, I do think Ekblad's very good. I was half joking with Tom last night. Did you hear this part?
No.
Okay, because, all right. So a few days ago, Jay and I were looking at the TSN most prized free agent list for the offseason. And Marner's number 1, and Ekblad's like 10th. Really? He was like behind Brock Nelson, who I know cashed in yesterday or the day before. But I'm like Jay and I both think Ekblad's a good player.
Yeah.
But he had it, but then a lot of nasties wrote into us and were like, PD.
He's enhanced.
I was actually wondering, like, is some Oiler fan going to try to have, and Tom said, you can't bring syringes into the rink, Reid, but have like a plastic big syringe or like a bag of pills, and they're waving it at Ekblad or something like that. Nobody did. I'm not recommending you do that, anybody. Though I would laugh if that happened.
That would be great, actually. A syringe costume with PEDs on it behind the bench.
For you, Aaron. Yeah,
not even
meet me in the alley.
I don't know if you get in with.
I
don't know if you get in with a syringe costume, but just like a pill bottle costume.
Yeah, pill bottle costume, but have his
like
with the DIN number on it and everything, right? Like just his name and what it does. That would be great.
That's incredible. All right, hired or fired for GS Construction. Cass, since these were your ideas and very good ones, I'll start with you again. Hire it or fire it. The tying goal, McDavid's pass to Ekholm, was intentional.
Well, intentionally to Ekholm. I'm going to fire it. I don't think it was. I was saying that last night, and that's when my internet got crazy. So obviously someone was hacking in. Chief Andy, I'm looking at you. You're listening. Hacking into my internet. My internet not working. I don't think it was. I think he knew he had, I believe it was Evander Kane at the net front, like on the way there. And he knew that everyone was collapsing to the front of the net. And he knew that this has a chance to get to Evander Kane, or it's going through to our next layer. And since Florida Panthers are all collapsing, we might have someone in the next layer that can pick up the puck if this plays a little bit of pinball and goes. I think that's what he was trying to do. So I'm gonna fire it. I don't think he was intentionally trying to get it to Ekholm. I think he now smartly was putting it to an area where Evander Kane could get it, or there was going to be an opportunity for someone to get it. I don't think he was on purpose trying to go to Ekblad or Ekholm in that situation.
Yeah, I'll agree with you, Cass. I'll fire it as well. But I do also agree that I will never doubt Connor McDavid with his vision on the ice. Ekblad, I think it's lost in translation, saying he's got eyes in the back of his neck. It's usually the back of the head, in the eyes in the back of the head or whatever. But he saw Ekholm coming down and knew if there was a chance, if it did get through, there was another layer of a guy to maybe come in and mop it up, so to speak, too.
Yeah. Well, I think even so, if you look at where he lands it, the puck lands like right where Kane would have been, which is what he's trying to do. And that's where I think that, like, where he sees Kane stepping in. But again, he knows that there's 4 Panthers right there. And that I do not question that he knew that there was 4 guys at the net. Like, he's seeing they have 4 guys in the net here. So that if this does play pinball, we have someone that's going to be able to pick up the loose change and hopefully get an opportunity. So, I mean, it doesn't, and me saying that, for anyone that's like upset, that's like, how could you say that about Connor McDavid and this and that? And I think he's the most talented player of all time. So let's stop right there. And number 2, that's still a beautiful, intelligent, fantastic play.
Yeah.
Right. Because you have to read that, hey, I have a chance at Kane here, but if this puck goes through, we're going to get another opportunity at it.
Yeah.
It's like you're playing percentages in that. And mentally you're like, okay, it's a low percentage chance. And it really is. It's a low percentage chance that I'm able to drop this right on Kane's tape without someone's stick getting in the way. But all of a sudden the percentage chance of something positive happening just rises dramatically, because it becomes an area play of like, okay, well, if he doesn't get it, we have everyone coming in here and they're collapsing and their backs are going to be to the puck. So we're going to be able to create something. So it's still an amazing play, even if it wasn't, in my opinion, intentionally for Mattias Ekholm.
All right. Last 5 minutes of the show. So we'll do some quick hitters with messages on the text line, 780-218-9999. We're in the nasty chat. Matthew Kachuk in the nasty chat. You dopes watch me in game 2. I am the true rat king. Always great to have Matthew Kachuk chiming in. He chimes in a lot on the Reid Wilkins show. I think he's on other shows as well.
I didn't know he had this much time.
Gordon says, I agree with Cass on the pass meant for net front. Also, is Cass relying on wireless or plugged in internet for his home station?
Yeah, Cass.
My computer doesn't have a port that allows me to plug it in. So
where's your router, Cass?
It's not far away.
Really?
It's not far away, but part of me has debated like running I don't know if I need to run like I might not an extender, but basically to mesh it. Whatever. I know my tech stuff. I'm not dumb tech wise, but
I would.
No, it doesn't. It might.
If I could give you a pointer, because you probably have 2.4 hertz and 5 gigahertz.
It's at 5.
Yeah. Make sure everything else is turned off. So that's the only frequency it sees too.
Do you have a booster, Cass? This is a voice of God speaking.
Well, that's what I was looking at. I was going to say, well, maybe I got to get a booster to plug it in here. It just to help, even if it just helps a little bit. Because I know boosters, you don't cap out your speed. Like you're not going to max stuff out, but it may make it a little better. So looking at the booster, thinking about that.
I had to hardline actually for my son because he moved back home. I had to hardline his computer back in to his little place downstairs. So I had to run a line, as they say back in the day.
Couple of texts I want to get to. The Gourdfather right again. He says, hey guys, I didn't love Kulak's game as a whole last night. Nurse on the power play goal I didn't like, but other than that, not much to complain about. I really feel that at 3-1, when Skinner got knocked down behind the net, he looked mad and said, screw the Panthers, they're not going to score again. He immediately made 2 to 3 big saves and knew he was shutting the door. Gourdfather also adds, we saw what happened to the Stars as longer series. Maybe he just means Stars on other teams in general, maybe not just Dallas. As longer series went along, he says, Panthers riding 3D will only help the Oilers the longer the series goes. And then I'll just read this one from Troll, and you guys can respond to whatever you want to. Troll says, imagine the post-game comments if Stuart Skinner gave up that Arvidsson goal.
Yeah, see, I thought, look, if Bobrovsky sees that clean, I'm almost positive he stops that, right? But you can see he just goes down into the butterfly and hopes. Like we've talked about the battle of Stuart Skinner to find pucks where he's screened. That was a case where Bobrovsky, who is really good at finding pucks, I think there wasn't a lot of effort, and Podkolzin put himself in a perfect position to take the eyes away. And being from distance, that's very difficult to do. So is it a bad goal? Yes. Bobrovsky should have battled through that screen more, but I mean, if the same thing happens to Stuart Skinner, I'm saying the exact same thing. There has to be a little bit more battle to get through that screen. But I don't find it it's a bad goal because of the play that Podkolzin makes too, and Arvidsson putting in a spot above the pad and below the glove. That 7-hole that I think Noodles was talking about, and I think you were talking about it too, Reid, just with Bobrovsky.
Well, he's a very good goalie, but the Oilers scored a few goals last year. I mean, even the Janmark breakaway goal in Game 7, there were a few pucks, the Holloway goal, remember when he twisted in that one game, that hit Bobrovsky under the left wrist and went over his pad. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that's a place that goalies get scored on, but I saw the Leafs get a couple there as well. It's almost like he really leaves his glove high,
up high, yeah.
And I don't know if that's scouting or if it's just something I noticed and then I'm looking to reinforce my own theory by only noticing those goals. But you did see that one kind of go there yesterday. So maybe something to watch for, or maybe something where people will say Reid is just ranting aimlessly once again, which often happens. And I'm going to do again at 3:00 this afternoon. All right, who do you guys have coming up?
Do you have Nick?
I think you have Nick Anderson on the show.
We have
Elk star player.
We have Nick Anderson coming up at 2:20. Obviously, we're going to recap the game. Red Light District at 1:40. Inside the Numbers for Play Alberta at 2, and then we'll just tee you and Jay up for at 2:40 and get you ready for the Reid and Jay show.
All right, so we got Luke Yazzik is on the show.
Whoa.
Supposed to be on the morning show. Something happened.
Yeah.
So we're taking him.
It's got Belsy disease.
Ken Ken Reed's going to be on. I think Ken and Ivanka were doing their highlights from the Moss Pit.
Yeah.
So Ken's a fun guy.
Yeah.
I saw him last night. He's in town. And with the Elks coming up, we're going to have defensive coordinator J.C. Sherrod on the show as well, because we got to get people ready for Saturday's game. Cass, great to see you. Have a good day.
See you,
That is
fellas.
Matt Kassian. He's Joaquin Gage. I'm Reid Wilkins in for Dustin Nielson. Quick break here, and then EST Afternoons. Thanks for checking out the show.